Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. We're doing some early aldermanic stuff. We're getting everybody ready. Jewish Chicago is going to be out for the fall, right around the time early voting starts in October. Probably putting out, almost definitely putting out an aldermanic issue this year also. So it's always free and on your newsstand. Go check our website for further details. And anyway, 45th Ward aldermanic candidate. Introduce you, first time I'm meeting him also, Don Blair. How you doing?
Avi, nice to meet you.
My pleasure. And tell me about what are you running?
Well, I'm running because in the 45th Ward we have some tremendous problems. We've had a real economic downturn in the 45th Ward that's been going on for over 20 years.
Now you're Northwest.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And we have a huge problem because businesses are leaving our ward in droves, and they have for the last 24 years, and they're not being replaced. And that is creating an undue burden on the residents who live in the ward because they're sharing the disproportionate share of the tax burden when these businesses leave. Not to mention the fact that these residents who live in the ward, myself included, have no place to go. They have no place to shop. They have no place to go out to dinner with their families. The older citizens who are no longer driving have no place that they can walk to. I mean, I have to get in my car and drive to Norwich to buy a bag of dog food and office supplies.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. So there's a host of problems that we're facing, but at the end of the day, this election in the 45th Ward is clearly about economic development. It's about economic development and job creation. We have a lot of folks in our ward who need jobs, who want to be able to go to work, and the majority of jobs that you have that are in the ward from local businesses support local residents, and those local residents work for those local businesses. So any businesses we bring to the ward will be instant job creation. So those two things I see as the most important issues in the 45th Ward are economic development and job creation.
Give me something about your background.
My background, I'm an economist. I've been in business strategy for about 18 years. I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers. I worked for Deloitte. I've developed and implemented business strategies for the largest corporations down to the smallest businesses. And I think that my background and experience is exactly the skill set that we need in the 45th Ward. I look at the aldermanic position to be one, certainly it's legislative, but to me, it's more executive. You're almost like the mayor of your ward. You're responsible for the economic welfare and well-being and quality of life of the people who live there. And you have to have the skill sets and understanding and experience to be able to bring businesses in, ensure that people are getting their needs met, be able to listen to them and be responsive to them. And I don't see that in our current alderman, but those are the skill sets that I have. Those are my strongest skill sets, and I will bring them to bear to solve the problems that we face in the 45th Ward.
That's interesting. You know what, I haven't seen an economist that I know of run, but I think why not? And especially in these tough economic times, you would probably know what's doing.
Well, you know, we started out, I started working with the Six Corners Association. If you remember Six Corners, because you've been around
That's
Chicago
Milwaukee,
for a long time,
Irving.
Milwaukee, Irving, and Cicero.
Yeah.
That was once the most busy shopping district outside of the Loop.
Yeah, I used to go to the Sears there. I had trouble shopping. There was this newsstand I loved over there.
City News.
Yeah, and I just had trouble getting anywhere near there.
Right. Well, we do have parking issues, but the most important thing is there are virtually no businesses. So I started out working on a pro bono basis with the Six Corners Association. They made me the chair of the Economic Development Committee. And together we got a lot of things done very quickly. We got the city to commit to fund an economic development plan for the entire Six Corners area. We formed an economic development steering committee because that's important. We took community leaders and business leaders and put them together on a steering committee to implement the plan recommendations after they've been delivered. That's extremely important. We took down all the blighted signage and old awnings off of those vacant buildings on Milwaukee Avenue because cleaning up blight is economic development 101. And we got the city, we worked with the city and a major regional bank to establish a new program with the Small Business Improvement Fund to collateralize those Small Business Improvement Fund grants in the form of lines of credit so we can get those lines of credit and capital to the business owners so they can improve the infrastructure of their businesses and the facades of their buildings to make the neighborhood more viable.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Well, we did this in less than 1 year. So, you know, the way I look at it, working together, we know what needs to be done. What needs to be done is we need a strategy to fix the problems in the ward. We need some competent, skilled, experienced folks to come to bear to solve the problems, get that strategy, develop, get it implemented, get some mechanisms in place to listen to the people of the ward. What are their needs? What are their issues? There's been also a huge lack of responsiveness from the current alderman's office, which is very frustrating to residents. Some of the other issues that we're going to tackle, which I think, is sort of, I see it as essential to an alderman's job, but it's going to strike you as kind of odd, TIF and property tax reform. Those are really essential. You can have TIF reform without property tax reform, but you cannot have property tax reform without TIF reform. That money is siphoned off of everybody's property taxes, and it's put into a fund. And the idea is to use it for economic development. But when it sits there and it's not being used, and the ward is crumbling around you, businesses are leaving, it's not used for economic development, then there's no benefit to residents, and that just isn't right.
I actually read a lot about the TIF stuff. I really like reading Ben Jarowski in The Reader, and I've been following it very closely. And yeah, what's going on with TIFs is one of the things I like about my alderman is there's almost no TIFs around here.
Well, the funny thing is Ben and I have had discussions about this now for the last couple of months. I did an analysis 2 months ago where I looked at every single TIF in the city of Chicago, and I looked at their ending balances, and I looked at their beginning balances, and anybody who knows anything about accounting knows they're supposed to match. Well, they don't. They're off by millions of dollars. So this whole sunshine ordinance is really not being adhered to. But TIFs are a big problem because they siphon off property taxes from the property taxes that all residents pay.
Yeah, at this point, give us your contact information.
Absolutely. My contact information, my website is blair2011.com. You can reach me directly at 312-909-2224.
Don Blair, very impressive. I'm glad I had you on, and I think you're going to be a very viable candidate in the coming election.
Thank you, Albie. Thanks for your time. Pleasure.
My pleasure.